You guys, I wanted to talk about something real quick. It's not on the subject of these little girls anymore because I feel like that's just going to be depressing. Nothing's going to come of it. I'm going to say this right quick, though, because I'm not going to make a whole nother audio about it unless I'm going to do a type of intuitive reading, okay? Like some type of mediumship, and that would be on the other channel, not this one. But I'll say this, though. A lot of black women, not all, but a lot of them, a good majority of them, due to the fact that they do not care about their daughters, and they seem to, not only do they not care about them, they seem to have a seething hatred for little black girls. When people say, women used to say the black community hates black women and girls, but black women hate their girls, though. That's a huge problem. But let me say this, because this is not the topic. Black women's wombs are cursed, a lot of them. Not all, like I said. Not the ones who take care of themselves, not the ones who actually take care of their children, not the ones who are actually responsible and reliable. I'm not talking about them. But I am talking about a good number of black women, whether they live in the hood or whether they don't live in the hood, because it's a lot of women who grew up that did not grow up in the hood was still mistreated, was treated horribly by their mothers. It's that seething hatred that a lot of these women have for their daughters. And you don't have to grow up in poverty-stricken neighborhoods for a mother to hate her daughter. It's something wrong with the black woman's relationship to her daughter. Something is seriously, seriously wrong. Okay, and that's why a few months back, probably even last year, I talked about the next level of divestment. People talk about divesting from Blackistan. That was a huge conversation. But I said divestment is going to be more than just getting away from Blackistan, because at that time I was saying there was a huge issue with the way a lot of women felt about each other. They just seemed to hate each other. Okay, so it's more than getting out of Blackistan, and this serious seething hatred. And I'm saying black for a reason. I'm not just going to call her brown. A lot of these women, the women who truly hate their daughters, I have to call them black, because they are fitting that they are fitting that part of the caste system. Okay, so that's why I'm going to have to call them black. Because I know I say brown a lot, but in this case I am going to call them that. It's a serious problem. It's a hatred between the black woman and her daughter, okay? And like I said, because I'm more on the matriarchal side, this has a lot to do with the sister turning against each other during early matriarchal times, okay? But and they turned against their own divinity. They turned against the cosmic mother, and I think this is the issue between black women. But I'm gonna say this. Doing what I was looking at a Pixar, because I'm changing the subject now because I'm not going to make a whole audio about that. But I was looking at a teaser trailer, and it's called Soul, and it's from, I guess Pixar is the name of a production company. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna tell you something about these movies, these Disney movies, these animated type of movies. Even when you see cartoons and stuff, they tell you more of the truth. And it's not that they tell you more of the truth. It's just, it's not as coded as it is in these other movies. Like, you look at other movies that you see on TV, they have some truth in there, but it's coded. You have to know how to decode. But when I look at a lot of these little Disney movies, there's a lot of it is not really much decoding. They telling you what you need to know. It's so interesting in these little kiddie movies where they tell you everything you need to know to get to your highest self, to your true self, more than these regular movies do. These regular movies talk about all this action and crime and sex and comedy. But these Disney movies, they really sometimes they tell you things that you need to know. And so it's this movie called Soul. I just saw the teaser trailer. And they talking about, how it really harms you to constantly do something that you don't want to do. And a huge example is that is work to pay your bills. Now you don't want to be hold on. You don't want to be in no homeless shelter either. Not that I'm putting that down, but that's not the desired place that most people want to be. Some people end up there because they have to do what they have to do, but that's not the place that a lot of people want to be. Okay, so yeah, you want to try to do work at least enough to get stable. You want to work enough to get back on your, get back stable, get back being able to pay your bills, get back comfortable. But you don't want to stay there. So you don't want to just work somewhere for 40 and 50 years and so you can get your disability and get your Social Security and get your retirement. See, that's that old school lower density 3D realm from maybe 3 decades ago, okay? We have evolved beyond that by now, okay? We have evolved beyond thinking that you got to work in the same place for 40 and 50 years and get your pension and get your retirement checks and get your Social Security. We have evolved, and the reason why is because, if you don't do things that really feed your soul. So if you happen to be stuck in a job or any type of position and doing it just because you need to pay your bills, but you don't really love what you do, but you're doing what you have to do to pay your bills. See, if that type of stuff is taking a considerable amount of time, then there's nothing left for your creativity, okay? There's nothing left in you. It's nothing left to be created, to be creative when you spend so much time doing something that you don't want to do, okay? Sometimes it just helps to try to work enough just to save your money so you can take off for a month. Sometimes it just helps to do that. You don't, and I'm going to tell you another thing, you don't have to always work. If you don't want to work, you don't have to. Some people feel like they always have to do something. That's not true. If you don't want to do anything, you don't have to. If you want to spend your rest of your life and never have to work again, that's on you. It's all about what your soul wants, okay? And so they were talking about, in this Pixar film, is this film called Soul, about how when you do the things you love, that gets you closer to your true self. When you do the things that you love, it gets you closer and closer to your true self. Okay? So some people, like say for example, some people decide they don't want to work 9 to 5. Some people decide they want to do something different. Some people decide they might want to get into relationships with a wealthy person to help take care of them. For example, Shira 7-1, right? So Shira 7-1, I'm not saying everybody have to do what she did now because everybody's different. I'm just using her as an example. Because she has chosen not to really care about looks, not to really care about love, not to really care about who's her twin flame, not to really care about who's her soulmate. I think she views soulmate differently anyway. But because she chose not to care about all that ooey gooey temporary type of stuff, she is kind of in a position where she's allowed to be creative. And so, to be honest with you, Shira 7-1 has become her true self. She has become her true self. I used to watch her when she used to, years ago, and I see the changes, okay? I used to watch her Shira Star Goddess page, though, okay? Because you see her, that's her metaphysical page, okay? And so, yeah, so I'm just using her as an example because she is, and another example is Crystal and Karazin, okay? That's another example is her. They decided to get married to a person who is a provider, okay? It's not to say that Crystal didn't need to probably bring in some kind of money, but for the most part, she married somebody who allowed her, who was doing okay for themselves and who was a provider, who allowed her to pursue her dreams, and now she got so far as having a pink pill. Had she been a person that had to, now some of us are not going to get married like that, and everybody don't want to get married, but so I'm not saying that you have to be her, because to be honest and truly, you can get creative and find ways to get money just so you don't have to work that much, and just so you can sit down and focus on the things that you love, right? Right now, I am liking what I do. I do home health. Okay, I wasn't liking working in facilities like hospitals and nursing homes. I really would dread waking up every morning. Even though I would make decent money, it's just that it wasn't enough to wake up every single morning and go into that unless I'm just really trying to get myself out of a hole. If I'm trying to get myself out of a hole, then okay, I got to put up with it, and I'm happy to make the money. So I'm focused. But once you get stable, you get tired of it, and you get tired of waking up and going back to it every day. Okay? And so but see, like, I'm happy doing home health, right? Because it's just really, I'm in the healing type of genre. I'm in the healing type of industry. And it's more fulfilling to me. So I am getting closer to my true self by doing home health. But I do want to get to a point where I can just do nothing for almost a year to 6 months to a year. I want to be able to, at a financial position where I don't do anything, where I don't work, where I don't do nothing unless I feel like doing something. Then I want to get to a position where I don't work, and if I do work within that year, it might just be maybe 2 weeks out that year. And I have to see, and so sometimes you have to be creative enough to know different ways to make money. Okay. So sometimes it takes to get creative to that point. So yeah, now it's different reasons why sometimes people can be crossed up, why some people can't seem to get it together. I'll talk about things like that on my other page. It's called Journey into Highest Potential. And I talk about other reasons why sometimes they can't seem to get it together, and it's not always their fault. The spiritual world is real, and diabolical people are real, and diabolical family members are real. I get into that on that other channel, not this one though. But I just want to talk about things that's not so deep right on this page. So yeah, so for me, I need to get creative right now. I need to get creative just enough, just so I can sit out for 6 months to a year. And if I do feel like working again, it's not going to be any more than 2 weeks out that, I'll say 2 weeks every, maybe every 3 months or something like that. Maybe every 3 to 4 months, no more than 2 weeks out of every 4 months. Right? That's fulfilling. That's what I want right now. That's my goal right now. The reason why that's my goal right now, because I get to sit and really, really focus on my true self more. Because when you have to constantly go out and try to find a way to pay your bills, you're not able to focus on your true self. You're not able to do it because you're so focused on trying to make sure your ends meet. And so I was looking at this thing, and it was so true. It was so true that when you do the things that you love, then you are able to that's how you get to your truest self, by doing the things that you love. That's why I don't like this financial system, this financial system that's going on right now, because a lot of people are kept from their true selves because they have to hustle to try to make ends meet. Okay? And so anyway, that's all I really have to talk about. But yeah, I use Ashura stuff, but it's other people. It can be somebody else who has never gotten married, but they found a way to really, really make sure they put themselves in a financial position where they can still be more creative. So you have some single women that have done that too, where they might have had to spend maybe a few years hustling just so later on down the line they can be at a point where they can sit home and then just put their feet up and be creative. So they don't always have to be married. I was just using Shira 7 as an example, and I was just using CK as an example because these are two women that a lot of people know about. A lot of people listening to this audio will know about. And you can see, but another good one, look at these YouTubers. Don't run away from YouTube, especially if you're one of those people that like to entertain. I don't really see YouTube being a big income for me because it's nothing that I really feel like I really want to do on YouTube, So, but don't shy away from YouTube either, because look at people like Chrissy, and look at people like Paris Milan. Now, Chrissy has admitted that she was able to move into a house that she loved, or an apartment, wherever she is. It's a home of hers that she loved because she is with somebody who's a good provider too. I think they're engaged. But see, even by herself though, she has a YouTube page that probably gives her decent money. And then she has this online magazine. And she's probably doing other things too. And look at Paris Milan, and look at other people, other women who might have, Lovely T is one of them. Lovely T. She had to hustle in the beginning, but now look at her. She's able to do whatever she wants to do. Okay, so those are examples of single women who might have had to hustle for the first few years of their life because they were single. And in Lovely T's case, she was a single mother. Okay? And so these are examples of women who are single, who hustle, but now they got to the point of where they are. Well, she probably making close to almost 7 figures, okay? She probably, Lovely T might be in the high 6 figures, close to 7 figures a year. Okay, because I don't know everything that Lovely T does. I don't think YouTube is her only paycheck. But YouTube is a nice paycheck for her, okay? And so that's an example of kind of hustling and doing what you have to do. So later on down the line, you can allow yourself to be more creative because you don't have to worry about how the light bill is going to be paid. You don't have to worry about how the car note is going to be paid because everything can be paid at once. Okay? So for some people, in my case too, that right now you just have to make sure that your bills are paid. It's probably good right now to just think of creative ways to get that income so you can make sure in the next few months you don't have to work for a while. You can take a month off, then the next thing you know, you build up enough money to take a year off, something like that. But yeah, that's all I was talking about. This show called Soul, this movie called Soul, and how doing what you love to do really gets you, really gets you closer to your true self. And the way this system was set up is that it caused people to constantly stay in survival mode when we were supposed to have evolved. I think Shira71 made a good audio. I didn't get a chance to finish watching it, but she was talking about, well, it's not on her page, it's a Shira Star Goddess, called The Parting of the Red Sea, and talking about really people not being so stuck into their root chakra so much, because that root chakra is more about survival. Nothing wrong with the root chakra, just stay rooted and grounded. But when you stay into that, you stay into survival mode. And when you have this financial crisis and this regression, recession, and all this stuff going on with housing markets and all that stuff, it pushes people back into their root chakra. It pushes people back into survival mode, and it gets them out of their heart. It gets them out of their heart because now they're in survival mode again. They're in that animalistic stage again. Okay? And so that's what I'm talking about. But you barely will see these in these kind of movies. And it's just so amazing to me when you look at these Disney movies. They tell you more than what these other movies tell you. They tell you, they're more overt. I'll say they're more overt because these other movies give you messages, but they're definitely coded, and you have to really know how to decode what these movies are saying. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so, yeah. But you guys let me know what you think, and I will talk to you soon.